What is good sportsmanship? Is it keeping calm when nothing is going your way? Is it treating others with respect? Whatever it is, it seems like the world of tennis can learn a thing or two about professionalism. Believe it or not, tennis players are known for violent arguments and causing a racket, pun intended. So today, we're going to take a look at some of the most tense moments on the court. Starting with Aryna Camelia Begu's little tantrum. Looks like tennis isn't child's play, and Aryna seems to have proven that. On an obscure court at Roland Garros, in a women's singles match that drew scant attention, Begu thrust herself into the global spotlight as the latest example of the ugly, potentially injurious on-court outburst plaguing pro tennis in recent months. Irked over losing her serve in a pivotal moment, she tossed her racket on the French Open's red clay, and it ricocheted into the stands towards a small child. The poor little girl burst into tears. The chair umpire summoned the supervisor to adjudicate, and Begu was allowed to play on, later cited for unsportsmanlike conduct. Despite the fact that her racket brushed the child, what's worse is that she didn't even apologize. Talk about rude and ruthless. Next up, Nick Kyrgios loses it. Aryna isn't the only one who is known for losing her cool when things don't go her way. At Indian Wells in March, Nick Kyrgios slammed his racket so hard after a loss that it nearly hit a ball boy. Jensen Brooksby did much of the same next week at the Miami Open, throwing his racket at a ball kid. He was assessed a point penalty and a $15,000 fine rather than being defaulted. But Kyrgios wasn't fined for anything and was even allowed to continue playing. What's with these tennis stars hitting their rackets against people, especially kids? But that's not all. Nick was also heavily penalized during the Miami Open for frequent verbal attacks on the umpire. Kyrgios has long had a reputation for his on-court misbehavior, and it's gotten worse over the years. Heading into a first-set tiebreak, the tennis star then smashed his racket in frustration, which resulted in the Aussie being docked a point for being unprofessional. He went on to lose the tiebreak by serving a double fault to give Sinner the set. At the beginning of the second set, Kyrgios was still unhappy with the umpire penalizing him and continued to criticize him. By this point, Bernards had had enough and docked him an entire game after Kyrgios smashed his racket and repeatedly yelled, "What's unsportsmanlike about it?" Yikes. Talk about a temper tantrum. And now, Rafael Nadal. Thomas Berdych and Rafael Nadal have a little history on the tennis court, which made this match interesting even before the start of play. When the umpire made controversial calls, however, things started to boil over. After a very late overrule from the chair, it looked like Berdych was the one about to lose his temper and spit the dummy out, but instead, he decided to challenge the call. As Hawkeye showed that ball was in, the umpire proceeded to award the point to Berdych instead of ordering it to be replayed. Nadal did not like this at all. Not only had he stopped playing, but he had returned the ball to the court. Thomas should have been awarded the point, only if his shot was deemed non-returnable. It's difficult to claim a ball as non-returnable when it was, in fact, returned. Even after reading through the rulebook, it's difficult to figure out what call the umpire and the match referee were making. Obviously, as Nadal had returned the ball, the only option was to replay the point. No wonder he went crazy. And we can't forget the queen, Serena Williams. Serena is a big personality who won't take crap from anyone, even though she's pretty happy to give it out. In the 2011 US Open final, Serena was getting emotional. After missing a year with injury and health problems, she made a dramatic return to the game in time for the Flushing Meadows tournament. After reaching the final, she was faced with Stam Stosur and quickly found herself a set down. Facing yet another break point, she was quick to celebrate a powerful forehand winner. The problem was, she was too quick to celebrate. When she was informed that Stosur had been awarded the point as a result of the early celebration, things quickly turned sour. Williams not only had one go at the chair umpire, but went back for more. In the end, she was fined a measly $2,000 for the outburst. Ouch. We feel sorry for her. And then, there's John McEnroe. This is probably the most famous spat there has ever been on a tennis court. The amount of times McEnroe has gone crazy on the court is barely countable, and at times, it seemed like he was simply playing to the crowd, or even trying to distract his opponent. Immortalized by Hugh Laurie in British comedy sketches, this outburst at Wimbledon in 1981 will go down in history as one of the greatest on-court spats ever. Not the most violent or rude of spats, even for McEnroe, it's his blatant disregard for the umpire that shocked the Wimbledon crowd. Now, in our opinion, the polite and upper-class voice of the umpire makes it for us. I'm going to award a point against you, Mr. McEnroe. Brilliant. And Jimmy Connors. Jimmy Connors was always a colorful character during his playing days, but when playing on his 39th birthday at Flushing Meadows, emotions were running high. Up against Aaron Krickstein, just 24 years old, the aging tennis star knew he needed things to go his way if he was to win. The problem is, it didn't all go his way, and during a first-set tiebreaker, the chair umpire overruled a call he probably shouldn't have. Then it started. Connors, a five-time US Open champion, let out a tirade of foul-mouthed abuse at the umpire, letting him know exactly what he felt. But it wasn't over there. Eventually winning in 5 sets, he made sure the umpire knew exactly what he felt about him for the rest of the match. And finally, Jeff Tarango. It takes two to tango. Jeff Tarango was having a bad day. He must have been for this to happen. Back in 1995 at the All England Club, the American ended his tournament in dramatic fashion by storming away from the court mid-match. Beginning with a disputed call, things escalated enough that he demanded to speak to an umpire supervisor, who was unable to calm the situation enough. After Tarango received a code violation for claiming umpire Bruno Reboux was corrupt, he had enough and left the court. Although he never made contact with Bruno again, his wife waited outside the changing area and slapped Mr. Reboux upon his exit. Wow, talk about being spiteful. Now, in other related news. First up, Novak Djokovic funding a new tennis star. As Wimbledon phone call and huge role emerges, Wimbledon winner Novak Djokovic is working hard to inspire the next generation of tennis stars. It's been revealed that the tennis star and recent Wimbledon winner Novak is helping contribute towards the training of Serbian prospect Hamad Medjedovic. The 21-time Grand Slam winner has taken the young player under his wing and does not want a financial strain to hamper his career. 19-year-old Medjedovic recently won his first Challenger trophy in Ludenscheid, Germany, and has now moved up to the world ranks to number 259. He's also won 3 future trophies this year as well. Next up, Emma Raducanu admits she used to literally cry on the tennis court. Since her historic US Open title win, Emma Raducanu has become one of the world's most recognized tennis players. Despite being just 19 years old, she is already a household name, and brands have been falling over themselves to work with her. Raducanu's popularity and high marketability comes from her flawless run in New York last year. She had been on the WTA Tour for just 3 months before she stunned the world at the 2021 US Open. Raducanu became the first qualifier in history to win a Grand Slam title, and she achieved this feat without dropping a single set. She admitted that she used to cry while practicing, but added that she's glad it's not as tough anymore. As a child, Raducanu participated in a number of sports and hobbies, including motocross and ballet. She laughed about how she was doing the two ends of the spectrum at 8, but tennis turned out to be her sport of choice, despite being totally uninterested when she first started out. And finally, Poland Open. Iga Swiatek's winning streak on clay ended by Caroline Garcia. Iga Swiatek's winning streak on clay came to an end as she suffered a quarterfinal upset at her home tournament on Friday. The 21-year-old Pole was 18-0 on clay this season, only dropping 2 sets while winning titles at Stuttgart and Rome, as well as the French Open. But at the Poland Open, she lost 6-1, 1-6, 6-4 to Caroline Garcia of France, who is ranked 45th in the world. Garcia will now face Italy's Jasmine Paolini in the semifinals. That's a wrap for this video. What do you think of these temper tantrums? Let us know in the comments section below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this, and we'll see you in the next one.